good morning, good afternoon, good night for everyone who tune in. Because we are in this global world which was become a village. So for your time, I'm greeting you because you tune in this TV. So in today's session, we are going to proceed about government expenditure and financing. This is a public finance. Don't worry, we are going to proceed for this. So let us go by this introduction, where it said that the expense incurred by governments for its own maintenance, preservation, and welfare of the economy as a whole is referred to as a public expenditure. It is referred to the expense of public authority, central states, and localization in the federation and the decentralization for the satisfaction of the collective needs of the citizen, or promotion of the economy and the social welfare. Thus, the main motive of public expenditure is the social development functions of the state. Those include education, public health, social security, irrigation, canal, drainage, road and building, and etc. So this is a motive of public expenditure to the social development. So the major cause of the increase in public expenditure is nothing but the development function. Hence, the start of public expenditure has become very significant in the start of public expenditure. So by go 1:1, so let us proceed by looking this, where we are going to start about this into deeper. This was introduction. So let's go by looking for the public expenditure and the sizes and the state size. In the CFA era, the state was assigned a very limited role of play. The functions and assigned to the state were based on the principle of least interference, or that government is the best which spends the rest. According to the classical school led by Adam Smith, state the function must be restricted to the functions of justice, police, and army. They considered government expenditure was wasteful, and that money could be used much well by private person than by government. So this was they saying about how the CFA era was. They say that it was assigned by very limited law to play. The law to play was very limited, and the functions assigned to the state, it were based to the principle of interference, that the government is the best which spend the rest. So according to this classical school read by the Adam Smith, stated that the function must be restricted to the function like justice, police, and army. This man was considered that government expenditure was wasteful, and that money could be used much well by private person than the government. In recent time, the public expenditure has been increased enormously. The main reasons that the functions of government have been increased manifold. When I say manifold, it means double. The modern states are no more police states but wealth state. Adolf Wegener, a German economist, presented his famous law of increase of state activity. He stated that comprehensive comparison of different countries and different times shows that among progressive people with which alone we are concerned, an increase regularly takes place in the activity of both central and local government. This increase is both intensive and extensive. Let's see this. The cause of the increase in public expenditure have the main things that cause this to be increased. So the government constantly undertake new function while they perform both old and new functions more efficiently and completely. In this way, the economic needs of the people, economic needs of the people to an increasing extent and in a satisfactory fashion are satisfied by the central and local government through the public expenditure. Some of the important reasons for the goals of public expenditure are welfare states, defense expenditure, growth of democracy, growth of public population, rise in price level, development expenditure, and public debt and aid, the poverty alleviation programs, and so on. The classification of public expenditure are these. We have revenue or recurrent expenditure and capital expenditure. What does it mean when we say revenue or recurrent expenditure? Here is the current expenditure. For example, these include administrative expenditure and maintenance expenditure. This expenditure is recurring type. The capital expenditure is of a capital nature and is incurred once of all. It is a non-recurring expenditure. For example, expenditure in a building, multi-purpose project, or on setting up big factory like steel plants, money spent on land, machinery, and equipment. That's why they say the capital expenditure is a capital nature and it's incurred once for all. Because when you build a factory, that's it. Spend that one time when you are building. If you are building a land or you are buying a machine or equipment, you buy it one, not and more than one. So here we have a diagram that shows how that classifications look like. As I said, the classification are two: revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. In revenue expenditure, we have two parts: development and non-development. In non-development, we have administrative service and debt service and the defense. That is revenue expenditure. That is the amount of money we spend for administrative services, debt services, and the defense. So it is in non-development. When it goes for developmental, we have social services, economic services, and the grants in aid. So when say developmental, we do an expense, and also we do development, meaning two in one. The social service. We have education, we have medical and health, we have labor welfare, we have science and research. When you say education, the government of Rwanda is paying for students to gather the skills to study universities, to study masters. So that's we are doing the revenue expenditure, but in terms of development. When we spend money in buying medical and health, so that's why we say it is a development, because if that citizen having wealth, is having good life, so we are making a development. So that's why government spend a large amount of money in buying a medical of COVID. So COVID-19, as you know. So another thing is the labor welfare. So we spend amount of money to increasing the welfare of labor, because if the labor doesn't have a good welfare, meaning that development cannot be attained. So let us go to economic service. We spend more money in economic services like agriculture, industry, energy, mine law, communication and transport, and foreign trade. Let's go for agriculture. When I say agriculture, in Rwanda we use what you call to these services by the government to help the people who are doing agriculture to make a large output. So in the industry, the government it's remove the tax to help the industry to be there, and also have an energy. So the government Rwanda it try to put the electricity for everyone. They provide solar energy for the citizen who don't have a capacity to buy an electricity. So that's why we say this revenue expenditure is into term developmental and non-developmental. So let's continue. There are specificity or uniqueness of public expenditure. It would be nice if the government could be run like a private business, but some fundamental difference between the nature of the government and the nature of private business make this impossible. First, governments do not sell their product for a profit. Do you understand? Because they do not earn profit, they do not receive very good signal about how well they are doing in satisfying the demands of the citizen they serve. So that's why the government you cannot. It is a uniqueness. The government spend chart is a uniqueness. You can say it is like private business, because some private business they sell their product to get a profit, but the government here do not expect to get a profit from that product is giving. Another things, the government do not issue first competition. That is the second uniqueness. The government do not compete with others. They don't have competitors, even if they are doing a poor job, because they are supporting a product or services that have little value, or because their costs are excessively high. No competing producer can quickly enter to produce a better services or one that costs less. Finally, government projects and programs are often chosen through the political process because of their effects on the incomes of special interest groups, rather than their contribution to the efficient allocation of the resources. I hope you understand this specificity of the public uniqueness. The first one, we say that the government they sell a product, do not expecting to get a profit from that product is offering. The second is the government do not usually face competition, even if nubwo yakora ibintu bitari bidafite quality irenze, because there is no competitors. So the final we say that the government projects and programs are often chosen through the political process because of their effects on the income of special interest groups rather than their contribution to the efficient allocation of the resources. Many government programs involves investment in the roads, water, sewer facilities, air and sea ports, education and other projects that provide social capital that enhance the productivity of inputs employed by both governments and the private sector. The government investment usually take several years to develop and construct, but once completed yield a stream of benefits to citizens for many years to come. However, because the government project do not usually result in output sold in the marketplace by the government, it is difficult to compute the return earned on the government's funds invested. We need a way of estimating net return to the government investment to determine whether they are providing net benefits to the society. We need to calculate the return to the government investment. So if you did an investment in something, you have to calculate the return. What is the return for that investment I did? So at the end, the government is required to calculate the return to estimate the returns for the investment government had did. So let us go for the cost benefit analysis, CBA. When you say CBA and the government investment, let us look for cost benefit analysis, CBA. So represent a practical techniques for determining the relative merits of alternative government project over time. You understand? This cost benefit is representing the practical techniques to determine the relative merits of the alternative government projects over time. A use of cost benefit analysis can contribute to efficiency by making sure that new projects for which managerial social costs exceed marginal social benefits are not considered for approval. As you see, this cost benefit is going to represent the practical techniques in order to determine the merit of a government project over the time. The use of this CBA it can be contribute to efficiency and making sure that the new project for which marginal cost or social exceed the marginal the cost benefit are not considered for approval. So the cost benefit analysis, if done well, provide essential information to be used by the government or authority and the citizen in making choice among alternative government projects. If this CBA is if done well, it will provide the essential information, the required information to be used by a government authority and a citizen to making a choice for alternative or the government project. The states of CBA. There are 3 steps involved in the cost benefits analysis. The first one is enumerate all costs and benefits of the proposed project. The first is enumerate all costs and benefits of the proposed project. The second is to evaluate. The first is enumerate, the second is evaluate all costs and benefits in franc terms. The third is discount future net benefits. Here they say that this allows the future benefits and costs to be reduced to their present value so that they can be compared with the dollar amount of budget authority necessary to finance the project. Although the steps may seem simple, an adequate analysis demands a great deal of ingenuity. It might require the combined talents of the economists, engineers, and scientists to collect, enumerate, and evaluate the costs and benefits. Benefits must include all indirect effects, externalities generated by the project. Costs must be defined collectively as alternative benefits forgone if the project is adopted. That's what we call opportunity cost. When we say opportunity cost, in a simple definition, it is alternative forgo when the choice is made. An appropriate discount rate must be chosen to compare present and future return from alternative projects. Let's go for the first step, enumerating benefits and cost. Benefits can be divided into two categories, direct and indirect. When you say direct benefits, are those increases in output or productivity attributable to the purpose of the project. For example, in a irrigation project, the purpose is to increase the fertility of the particular tracts of land. The direct benefits in this case will be the net increase over time in agricultural output on tract of the land being irrigated. Indirect or spread over benefits are those indirect or split off benefits are those occurring to individuals not directly associated with the purpose of the project. In an irrigation project, spillover benefits might include the improved fertility of adjoining land that is not actually irrigated by the scheme, that result from the change in the height of the water table in the area. For the second step, we have that the after all costs and benefits has been satisfactorily enumerated. The next step is to evaluate these costs and benefits in francs terms. Varying output require an estimate of the demand for increased production and the calculation of the consumer surplus. When the outputs of the particular programs are not sold in the market, the problems of valuation is difficult. Surrogate measure of the willingness of the beneficiary to pay for outputs that are not sold must be obtained. An additional problem occur with the outputs and inputs that are marketable but have price that do not reflect their true social value. This results when any output attributable to a project sold in a monopolistic market when external effects are generated by production of the output, or when exhaustion due to subsidies or taxes are presented. Under such conditions, price must be adjusted to reflect to the actual marginal social cost or benefit. Evaluating benefits and cost. So, discounting future net benefit. The next step after enumerating and evaluating costs and benefits is to discount all future net benefits. The choice of an appropriate discount rate is crucial important here. The need to discount stems from the existence of the positive interest rate in the economy. Positive interest rate imply that a francs of benefits in the future will be worth less than an equivalent francs of the present benefits, because it takes less than today to produce a francs of resources to tomorrow, say 1 year from today, when interest rates are positive. Let us look for example in order to understand more clear. If the interest rate is 5% per year, then only $95.4 needs to be invested today to obtain 100 1 year from today, because this 100 is the future value. That is to say, 100 received 1 year from today is worth only 95.24 today, and this is the present value, so it's called the present value. So of 100 to be received in 1 year at the end of the year, so 95.4 will be equal to 95.24 plus I, that is called interest. So multiply with this is 1 plus interest rate power number 1 plus 5% bracket power 1, because this is in year 1. This is amount of money we are discounting times present value to get a 100. So in general, the present value of X dollar to be received a year from now, a simple interest rate is obtained by solving the equation, where they say that this amount of money to be obtained, the present value dollar, is equal to present value multiply with 1 plus R and the power n. This is a future amount of money we need to generate, so that's why we use this formula to get that present value. So when you take 1 plus R and also you power 1, you will get, and you multiply 195.4, you will get the solution of that amount of money we will generate in 1 year after 1 year. So let me show you how this comes from. So you will be writing, so let me do it in Excel to make you more clear to understand how to generate amount of money in the future. They said that this amount, what we call X, will be equal to PV multiply with 1 plus interest rate, and also we power the time. This is a time where we are going to look about. So let me show you more clear about how it's work. So by clicking here, I want to make a zoom, so is not working. So let us look how this comes from. Where this x, they give to us the present value, which is equal to 95.24, and also they give a time. A time is 1 year, and also they give to us an interest rate, which is equal to 5%, so we want to get x. We are discounting, so where this x comes from. So that means we are going to use this formula. So we are going to take, so here x, equal to 95.24 multiply. Let's use this multiplication. Multiply with 1 plus interest rate, which is equal to 0.25 to 0.05 power 1. When you power 1, so and also I like this. Sorry, I do like this to power 1. So that is where we get this value to the 100 of the present value. That's why what they want to say in our question. I hope everyone is understanding this more clear. So we were having, let us repeat this if we were not saying this. In our question, he gave to us 95% as present value, the amount of money that we have today. So we have an interest with 5%, and also the investment today to obtain 100. We want to look how this 100 comes from. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to show you where that 100 comes from. Even if they said that what about investment to obtain 3 years, you can get it. So here the question is what amount to be have to obtain in 1 year. So in 1 year, so how to get that? That is what we call x. So the formula is this: you take present value, multiply with 1 plus r as in an interest here, and also you power t. So in 1 year, here we are going to say it is equal to 95 of present value 95.4, and also you multiply with 1 plus an interest of 0.05. you put in the bracket to make it clear, and also you power you make power 1 because it is in 1 year. So you get this is 100. And also examining can ask you how what about what amount to be obtained in a 5 years. So let's look how to get it. In 5 years, it is a simple procedure. So this x is equal to, still the present value is like that. So it is 95.24. You multiply with 1 plus 0.05, and also you power, make a power, yes, power 5. This is the time. So you can get this in a 5 years. We will obtain this. If you have present value today, you will get this. That is how we calculate that. Let us proceed. That's the formula. So choosing the social rate of discount. The social rate of discount should be reflected the return that can be earned on resources employed in an alternative private use. This is the opportunity cost of the this opportunity cost of funds invested by the government in the project. To avoid losses in the well-being, resources should not be transferred from the private sector to the government use if those resources can earn a high social return in the private sector. Setting the account rate equal to the social opportunity cost of the funds ensure that misallocation do not occur. The social opportunity cost depends on the rate at which saver and the investor are willing to give up either consumption or investment to finance the government project. For example, if the rate of interest in the economy is 10%, the government project must yield at least that much to justify the transfer of funds from the private to government use if exists of the tax. Example, an irrigation project. Irrigation increases the supply of water for agriculture and other purposes. The direct benefits of the project include the increase in the water available to the farmers. Estimate must be made of the value of the increased annual flow of the water from the project over the life of the facility. Ideally, the water should be valued on the basis of the price that farmers will be willing to pay for extra units. However, in absence of the market for water or water light, such a valuation is difficult. Instead, with the help of agronomists and other scientists, it is possible to appropriate the amount that farmers will be willing to pay by estimating the increases in agriculture yield attributable to the increased water supply. This represents an estimate of the marginal productivity due to the increased water supply. Multiplying this estimate of the increased agriculture output over the life of the project by the appropriate price will give an estimate of the value of the margin product of the increased water supply, which in turn can be used as a proxy for the price that farmers would pay for the extra water. Direct cost. Those would include all labor costs necessary to construct and maintain the irrigation facility and the lake. All capital that would need to be acquired, such as pipe or rented, such as backhoes and deck in the process of construction and maintenance, and all land acquisition cost, rights of way costs, and rental payments that will be required for construction of the facility, and the indirect costs include lost agriculture outputs on land that has to be flooded as a result of the project, provided that those costs are not already included in the price paid by governments to acquire that land. Similarly, if the project diverted the water, it can reduce the water table in a location not served by irrigation system, with the consequential effect of the reduction in agriculture output not otherwise reflected in the land acquisition cost if the wilderness area are harmed as a result of the project, with a consent losses in recreational services provided by the wilderness, hunting and fishing. For example, estimate must be made of those costs and incurred as cost of the project. The government subsidies and income support for the poor. The poor. So let us do the government subsidies and income support for the poor. So the government assistance to the poor require redistribution of the income from the non-poor to the poor, from the rich to the poor. The generalist of the programs affect the tax burdens on those who must finance their costs. Of course, social costs of the programs designed to distribute income are inevitable. Transfer programs that subsidize the consumption of the particular goods, such as food or medical services, are likely to affect the choice of the recipients in a way that cause losses in efficiency. The availability of the transfer also can affect the incentives of eligible recipients to work. The social losses from this exhaustion in the work and spending decision of the transfer recipients are a matter of the concerns to those who finance the programs. The collective benefits resulting from aid to the poor for social stability and the safety net. They say that the change in the distribution of the income that reduce the incidence of the poverty can result in the benefits that are collectively enjoyed. From these perspectives, income distribution to the poor can be viewed as public good. Many people who support government's efforts to distribute the income to do because they believe that they and other non-poor citizens will benefit when poverty is reduced. They might also believe that government programs that establish safety nets to prevent personal income from falling below certain level provide the non-poor with insurance. That is, if an individual should suffer a financial or health-related catastrophe, government policy would prevent them from becoming destitute. In addition, many people have genuine comparison for those who are unfortunately enough to be unable to provide for their own needs, and they indeed experience satisfaction when the government provides subsidies to the poor. Income distribution also can provide collective benefits through social stability Many people reason that a society in which poverty is prevalent breeds discontent and dissolution with potential for chaos and violence. Upper income groups tend to support income transfer to the poor to secure the benefits of the social stability, thereby reducing the probability of revolutionary upheaval. But why do we rely on government rather than on private charity to provide assistance to the poor? The answer lies in the public goods nature of the charity. Voluntary donation to the poor are likely to result in an undersupply of income. The distribution to the lower income groups are relatively to the efficient amount because of the free reader programs. As you know, you remember free reader programs in the session 2. The government's action to distribute income can establish uniform standard of eligibility for aid. Such standard might not be ideal from the point of view of all citizens, but those government standards reflect the political compromise necessary to obtain public programs of ensure tax-financed income distribution. The government programs of assistance to the poor. Eligibility: in kind versus cash transfer. In kind: who is eligible? Eligibility: in kind versus cash transfer. So these programs to provide in kind or in cash. The rationale for many in-kind benefits to the poor is that they allow some control over the spending pattern of recipients. Those programs ensure that the recipients will spend their guarantee on necessity rather than luxuries. However, in-kind benefits free up cash that would have been spent on the subsidized items. This cash then can be spent on non-subsidized items. In other words, in-kind subsidies like cash subsidies allow increased purchase of all goods. Subsidies to the housing and food, there is allotment subsidies. Subsidize the food market for specific categories of poor people or for the specific foods. The impact of government assistance programs for the poor on the work incentives of recipients. We are going to look about the impact of government assistance programs for the poor on the work incentive recipients. So welfare benefits in cash or in kind assure the recipients of the minimum level of real income, independent of work. The more generous the guarantee generates is the incentive to the work. In other words, transfer results in an increased effect that is unfavorable to work. If recipients of the welfare are out of the labor force, those unfortunate effects on the worker is the incentive will be minimum. The cash benefits of many programs are often very low enough to minimize the income effect. Solution: we can see, for example, HIMO programs in Rwanda and also through the VUP Umurenge. So that is activities the government used to provide the cash to the poor people. Let us look for social security and social insurance. When it comes for social insurance and social security programs, provide income and health benefits financed by tax or contribution to the eligible individual. The first Social Security registration was enacted in Germany in 1889. Similar plans were established in the United Kingdom in 1908, France in 1910, Sweden in 1930, and Italy in 1919. More than 170 countries have some forms of social security system today, many of them providing sickness and maternity benefits, maternity benefits, national health insurance, and family allowance, supposedly for church expense, most often payable to the families with 2 or more children. The first national health insurance system was established in 1912 by the United Kingdom. The Social Security and Health Insurance in Rwanda. In Rwanda, the National Health Insurance System is still new from 1999, but the National Social Security System for the workers exists from 1962. Eligibility for the benefits payable under the Social Security System and other social insurance programs is usually contingent on paying a contribution or having that contribution paid on one's behavior by virtue of the employment in a job for which coverage is required. Today, the rate for health insurance is 7.5% for workers and 7.5% for employer. The combined rate was 15% and is reversed on wage. For the social security system, the rate is 3% for the worker, while it is 5% for employer. Also in Rwanda, the national health insurance system includes the global health insurance called Mutuelle de Santé. Health mutuality, that is what we call health mutuality. A community-based health insurance system from 1999. Beneficiaries are all residents who have paid the contribution. A social security and health insurance in Rwanda. To be eligible for the social security benefits, a worker must have worked and paid the contribution on certain minimum amount of earnings. Fourth quarter of the coverage, 10 years of the coverage worker qualifies a worker for social security retirement benefits. The monetary amount of the pension that worker received depends on the previous earnings history, marital status, dependence, and amount of time that social security taxes have been paid by the worker. The social insurance and social security pension are transfer programs open to all workers regardless of their income. However, the way in which benefits are paid can affect the income distribution somewhat because they are distributed according to the worker's wage. The Social Security retirement system pay as you earn, pay as you go versus full funded pension system. The government supplied retirement benefits under Social Security are financed in a radical different manner than are the benefits under most private retirement systems. A full funded pension system is the one in which benefits are paid out of a fund built up from the contribution by or on the behalf of members in the retirement system the dollar value of the fund must equal at least the discounted present value of the pension promised to the members of the system in the future. A member of full-funded private pension system contributes monthly to the pension plan, or the employer contributes along with or instead of employee. When the workers retire, they receive a pension based on the amount of contribution, a form of saving, plus the return and net of administration costs on those contributions over the period of time the money was held and invested by the retirement system. This is called the finance contribution pension plan, under which the worker or the employer contributes a certain amount per year and they receive a pension based on the contributions earnings of the pension funds and the fund's payout experience. The fund benefits plan promises the employee a certain pension to be full funded. Those plans must collect contribution to finance a fund that will mass adequate earnings to pay the promised pension. Administrator of full funded retirement system invest the funds of the pension system in various financial obligations, seeking to obtain a reasonable rate of the return on funds while balancing the returns and with any risk associated with their investment. The Social Security retirement system uses revenue collected from the payroll contribution to provide a pension for aged, the disabled, and their survivor eligible for the benefits. The old age, survival, and disability insurance programs is a contribution financed pension system. Retirement benefits are financed through contributions levied on working population. As pay-as-you-go pension system is one that finances pension for retired workers in a given system entirely by contributions or tax paid by current employed workers. Because the bulk of the payroll taxes collected to finance Social Security pensions in a recent year has been used to pay pension of currently retired workers, the Social Security system can be characterized as pay-as-you-go retirement system. The Social Security pension system represents an implicit contact between workers and the retirees. If it is this contract that keeps the system function. This is the assignment. Let me give you this. Okay, thank you for today. My God bless you. Remember to subscribe for this. Another things you have to know, this is Apatech TV, so always I wish everyone pass. This is Apatech TV. Remember to subscribe. I wish everyone to subscribe for this channel and subscribe. You have to watch and also you have to comment, ask me question. My WhatsApp number is is this. So for any question, my email is apatectv@gmail.com. So my God bless you, God bless everyone, and I hope everyone will pass this. Share for others. Remember to subscribe to get main video. This will help you to understand, and also for any query, for any question, please comment. I will answer you, and also share for others to watch this video, and also to comment and like. So like this video, watch this video in the name of Jesus, comment, and also you will be able to understand this course, and also I wish success for everyone. So this is Apatec TV. My God bless you, and ciao ciao. Let me meet you in the next session.